And joining me now on Skype is Vince Coglianese, editorial director at the Daily Caller. Vince, welcome back. Always good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Well, Vince, we have a lot to unpack right now, but I want to start off with the White House and the presidential election. As you know, multiple outlets have declared Joe Biden the president-elect, but the Trump campaign has filed a number of lawsuits. Also, President Trump has not conceded. What are your thoughts as you watch this all play out?
Well, my thoughts are he is definitely entitled to legal remedies, and right now he is working through the court process. So you do hear the rhetoric, you do hear people making allegations of fraud. But behind the scenes, the thing that's totally legitimate is allowing this thing to play out in the courts. And the Trump campaign has made a couple, I think, of very clear declarations, at least in their court filings, about what they're concerned about. One of them is that they wanted to have access to the polls to actually watch the ballots being counted. And they felt like in a number of states, in particular in Pennsylvania, they weren't being allowed to do that as the law requires. So they're contesting the way that those votes went. Additionally, they're concerned that some votes came in after Election Day and that those votes are being wrongly counted. The Supreme Court has not yet made a decision on that in Pennsylvania. And in fact, over the weekend, Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito said, separate the votes. Any votes that came in after Election Day, make sure to keep them separate from all of the others. So that way, when we get to a case deciding what to do about those ballots, at least they will be segregated out. Those are, I think, just a couple of the areas where the Trump campaign is pursuing. Let's verify that everything is legitimate before we make any sort of concession.
Yeah, one bright spot I want to talk about today is that encouraging news on a possible COVID-19 vaccine, especially, as we as a nation and the world are still battling the pandemic.
It's huge. It's gigantic news. And, this one, I think it's hard to overstate how big it is. 90% efficiency coming out of Pfizer. And this is a credit, although it comes a week too late for the presidential campaign, to the Trump administration's efforts with Operation Warp Speed. You'll remember that phrase because it's been tied to the efforts by the administration to get this type of vaccine out as quickly as possible. And it involves a couple things. One, money for research and development, not money, by the way, that Pfizer took. Money for the actual purchase and distribution of the drugs. That is money Pfizer is taking, $2 billion of it. And also kicking down all of the barriers that would normally be necessary in a regulatory process to develop a vaccine like this. The Trump administration cleared all of them out of the way in order to get this thing done in record time. And if it's true that we got a vaccine that's that good in this short of time, it's the fastest any vaccine's ever been developed like this. So you have to go back to the 1960s when the measles and mumps vaccine was developed. In 4 years, this is much faster than that and could be very good news for us in the coming year.
Indeed. Vince, we have less than a minute left, but I want to get to this. As Eric reported, it seems we'll have to wait until January before we know which party will control the Senate. What's at stake in Georgia for both parties? Can you quickly talk about that?
Everything. I mean, if both of these Republican senators who currently hold the seats lose them, then we have what appears to be a 50-50 Senate split. And that means that the vice president of the United States, expected to be Kamala Harris, will be the tie-breaking vote, effectively giving Democrats control of the Senate. It seems unlikely that Democrats will win that seat. But boy, I'd hate to be those candidates right now. That's about to become the fiercest political scene in the universe, as so much money will pour in from both sides. Lots of attacks on the way. This is going to be a very intense race coming in the beginning of January.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Thank you so much, Vince. Vince Coglianese, editorial director at the Daily Caller.